Let's stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to thank everybody for making it out tonight, and before we get started with the regular meeting, I'd like to take a few minutes to thank Jimmy Thompson and his wife Anita for going above and beyond working on our parks, and we decided to give you this little appreciation deal and we appreciate all you've done and all you're going to do. I'd like to hear a hand for that.
So we'd give you the key to the city, but we ain't got a key.
No. We can't find it.
We lost it, yeah.
We just settled for keys to the park.
Okay, at this time, we'd like an approval for the claims for June 7th, 11th, June 7th through 11th of 2024, and October 4th. So if you look through them real quick, if I could have a motion and a second to approve the claims.
From October to November?
Yeah.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second. All in favor? Aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carried. Okay, tonight we have the some speakers from the Milton Lodge that would like to discuss the sidewalk deterioration. You got the floor.
Yep. Thank you. Thanks for having us. My name is Randy Smith. I'm a member of the Milton Lodge over here. We've been having issues with water running down into the basement, and to the best we can tell, without really putting a transit or something on it, we're about 7 or 8 inches lower on that River Road side on the sidewalk than the crown of the road. So we'd like to talk to you about maybe getting that worked on it sometime in the future. And then we had an issue with the water bill. I guess you were talking to them, you're dealing with that. Okay, I just wanted to bring that up so it's in the open.
Yeah, they hear it.
And
all
then
the
also
time.
the trash can. They're not picking up a trash. Now I don't know if that's because we have it up against the wall, maybe too close to the deck, or if they're just not picking it up.
I can send it over.
Yeah, just if we could just find out. But the main
Maybe
issue
if it's
for
not on the
tonight,
curb, they're not. Maybe it's not on the curb. They're
right?
It's not ready to
Well,
go yet.
there's no curb there.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
there's just that little sidewalk.
Yeah.
But the main thing is to work on that sidewalk if at all possible. I know you guys are doing some things with sidewalks around town, so it would be nice if we could do that. We're getting a lot of water in the basement that's causing mold, and we're trying to upgrade it a little bit as best we can with the money we have, but it's not doing us any good if we keep getting wet. So that's really all I had, and I want to thank you for the time.
You're welcome. Have any suggestions of what we can work with on this?
We done some work over there a couple of years ago, the gentleman was on here, we put concrete in by the drive alley there, up to where the side door went in.
Create a slope, maybe?
Yeah.
Well, now it's coming right down, because since then they've paved the road, and now it's
Yeah.
coming down
Park,
So does
right there by the stairs.
The new
Does it just
park's
need to be-
already, it's coming in over the new park too.
Yeah.
It is, it's all right.
We put a couple of drains in down there by the stairs,
Yeah.
but it's not handling it. It's not handling it, so.
What if we put French drain in along the
We
sidewalk?
put 2 in
You already put 2
already.
in already?
Yeah, well, we can't do a lot with the sidewalk because that's you guys now.
Straight back to the building, it's not good.
It has no place to go
Right.
except.
Right, well, I was thinking tapping in, because you're not that far for a storm drain
Right.
on the street
Yeah,
there.
that would be great.
That'd be nice.
I mean, just anecdotally, because I don't really know for sure, but when you had the leak down there, and took them a while to find the leak. Nothing came in, it was going down toward the river, but it was out in the road. So, but if we get a rain, it goes in.
Surface water.
It's just surface water.
Puddling, yes.
So, we think that might be the fix, along with a drain. If you're gonna fix it, put a drain in there too, but, that would help tremendously.
Is there any more construction work on water lines in that area going in? To our knowledge?
River. No, they're done. Cause Lycans did that. And so did SOB, so they're done over there.
Just thinking if it was something to be done, you could add to it.
Okay, we'll
Thank you, I
we'll work
appreciate
on this
that.
issue. All right, next on the agenda, we've got Whitney.
Okay.
You don't have to stay if you don't
Okay.
want.
Oh, appreciate it.
We don't.
Excuse us.
Yeah, excuse me. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, we'll take a look.
How's your dad, man? Doing well.
Will do.
I know, so we need to look at it. The guy's doing Christian is doing the sidewalks right now. So I'm gonna ask Christian to go over there and look at that
Okay.
sidewalk. He's the one that's doing our sidewalks throughout the town.
Super stuff.
So,
I'll move it right here.
thanks.
I think he thought it was on Teams. Okay, I'll try my best. I can't make any promises, but good thing I have 3 cops behind me, so if I try anything, I should be fine.
They know you're my friend, so.
Don't tell me that. My red hair might set on fire on me. I had it, it's automatic anytime that I send anything, there's a Teams link on it.
Oh.
But I had like the address and stuff in there. He thought it was like an actual Teams thing.
Oh,
So I told him if we need him, I can call him.
okay. She's talking about Steve Brock.
Okay.
Because that's what's next. Me?
You're
For the band?
Yeah.
Oh, that ain't me. So I'm here to talk about the band that Steve talked about last month. I'm here just to answer any questions. I thought that Steve was gonna be here. I set up a meeting and then it automatically has a Teams link in it. I had like the address and stuff. He thought it was an actual Teams meeting. So, I guess if there's any questions or anything like that from Steve, I can call him in. That's what I was just texting him about. But essentially, he sent an email earlier today, and it has all the band terms and everything on it. So, just as a little background, this is for the 2025 fiscal year project. So that everybody's aware, I think we talked about it a couple times. We sent in the remainder of the water main work to the state revolving fund. They offered about a 90% grant funded package. In order to move forward with that and be able to use that grant money, we need to be able to submit and get a bid from a contractor. And in order to do that, the engineering group, as well as the financial group and all those parties up front that need to do work have to be paid. And so that is that's done with a bond anticipation notice, which essentially means that the town would take out a loan and then they would get that loan paid back with the grant dollars. I think the information that Steve had provided, since I'm not a financial expert, I'm just gonna read off what he had as the information. The interest rate that they were able to secure for the 8-month ban would be 5.75%. There's also a bank counsel fee. The total amount is $105,000. If he can get the ban issued within the next 30 days, if he gets council authorization tonight to move forward, council authorization tonight would also allow me to move forward with engineering work so that I can get it on the docket to get bid, so that we get the contractor, bids. And that is pretty much the information I have. So I guess at that point, if any of y'all have any questions for Steve, I can call him in here. Do we have anything for him specifically?
I'm kind of concerned about the 5.75 one on here. It
Yeah.
says for the ban, it was 2.
For the ban?
Yeah, maximum underwriter discount ban was 2%. And then, and now it's at 5.75.
Where do you see 2%?
I know that might be, he might be talking about the actual final loan amount, but look.
The whole grant itself?
Mm-hmm. I think the actual final loan is 2%, like not the portion that's grant, the portion that the city would have to, or the town would have to pay out at the very end. That part would be 2%. I know that is the maximum that would be. And he also talked about getting that even lower depending on what we get bids as,
So the 5% is exactly for what?
just the ban. But that's, I need to call him.
That's under the, up at the, in the middle of the paper, it says maximum interest rate for the bans is 6%, so it's under the maximum, but not very much.
Hi, Steve. I'm just calling you in with the council here. I think the only question that they are having is what exactly the 5.75% is, as opposed to the 2% that's also on the rate sheet. Can you explain what the differences between those are?
So the 5.75% is the interest rate quote we got from the bank. So we weren't really sure what the interest rate was going to be. That's the quote I've got from the one bank. We've got it's a bank I go to a lot. It's a little bit difficult to get bands, and these amounts are this small. Usually the bands I do are, 500,000, 750, $1 million. Getting a banker interested in 105,000 is a little difficult. This bank will close quickly. We also have a little bit of difficulty because we don't have gateway information with 2023 up. So, that's going to be a question that we're going to have to answer, and I can walk the bank through all that. But it limits the number of banks that I can talk to because of the small amounts and the lack of gateway information. So, firm offer here, 5.75, $105,000. We'll have a loan term of about 8 months. We'll call it within 20 days after we close, and we're going to close sometime before June 30th of 2025, because that's when our loan offer from the SRF ends. So that's just what the offer is, 5.75.
How is that different? The 2% number that's on there, that's the number for any remaining amount that would not be covered by grant, right? So that's like after the band's over?
That's a great question. So the 2% is the interest rate we're going to get from the SRF on the permanent financing.
Okay.
And that's going to be the long-term financing. That's a subsidized interest rate from the Indiana State Revolving Loan Fund. What we're talking about here is the interest rate on the short-term financing that can, to get things moving here, the 105,000. So the bigger bond's going to have the smaller interest rate, and the small, shorter loan band is going to have the larger interest rate. The difference is that the band interest rate, the 5.75, is a market interest rate. It's called an inverted yield curve situation now, where short-term interest rates are actually higher than long-term interest rates. With the SRF rate of 2% is what we'll get on the long-term financing, and it's a subsidized interest rate offered by the state for us.
So essentially they're paying that 5.75 for the maximum of 8 months, but it also depends on when we're able to close. So if I can get us bid and ready to close before June, then that's even less time that they're paying that interest rate,
That's exactly right.
which I would anticipate being able
So
to
8
do as
months
long
or
as
less.
IDA does it.
Yeah.
So, and how is this 105 being paid back?
How is that portion being paid back through the ban is completely through, then wrapped up into the next
To the
portion.
grant?
Yes, so essentially what would happen is we would get the bid in place, right? And then we know exactly how much the total project costs. You have 5 million in grants, if it would be like 5.3 million, for example, total project cost including this band, then it would get wrapped up into the 0.3 million in the 2%. If it would come in less than 5 million, then it would all be covered with grant. So it's getting wrapped into your SRF package.
Because he asked me if my financial institution would be interested in this, and they would be, and I might be able to get it better than 5.75.
Second comment would be that the SRF will pay the band interest as well as the band out of the loan and grant proceeds. Because they'll only pay the interest at the end of the construction period, because they want to make sure that all the actual hard costs of construction are paid for first. And so the town will pay it first, and then we'll reimburse it later. And there's a third comment I want to make, and that would be that the SRF is a loan program with grant funding. In the past, as with Milton, we've been able to get 100% grant funding if the construction costs come in under the estimates. But it's a conversation, so I can't guarantee what the SRF will do. But in the past, we've been able to get them to do that.
Can you repeat that?
So is this like so this is the banker, so is this like a single payment note, or is it interest only, or?
Is this a single payment note, or is it interest only, or how does it work for those 8 months?
It'd be a single payment at the point that when we close on the loan to fund it back, we'll pay the interest at that point in time. And it's at this point it's $503 a month, at $105,000 at 5.75% interest.
I'm gonna try to get you an answer tomorrow when I go to work. They wanted this information today,
Okay.
so we might be able to beat the 5.75.
Steve, if Jeanette's bank can beat the 5.75, is that something you could still work with if they pass it today? Do they have to go specifically with that bank?
I talked to Jeanette a little bit, sent her some emails, haven't heard a confirmation from her, so I had to go through and get something definite for us. This is definite, but she wants to come in and she can beat the 5.75, and get her credit committee to close on that. I've got a term sheet that I've sent out, I can send to her as well, if that helps her with her bank. But yeah, if she can give the answer for me tomorrow, and then we can certainly go with her rather than this.
She says she has the information now, so she could try to get an answer on that tomorrow. But I just wanted to make sure if they pass it tonight, they're not locked in specifically to that rate. That's just the rate we have on the table. So if they can beat it quickly and we can still close, that they're still good.
That's exactly right. That's why we're having the conversation tonight. Before I close anything, I want to get their authorization for me to move forward. I want them to know what the interest rate was, what the long-term so far, and what we're looking at, and what the cost would be and how it would be reimbursed. But if Jeanette's bank can come in and beat that rate, then we would certainly want to go with her bank rather than going with the bank that I have set up.
Okay. Is there any other?
I need to know tomorrow. It would be great to know tomorrow. I could stretch it a little bit longer, but it'd be
Yeah,
great
I'll
to
give you
know
an answer tomorrow.
She said she'll know tomorrow. Okay, is there any other questions for him? Sorry, this is kind of like weird on an iPhone on the corner, but you're just a little iPhone, Steve. That's just all you are.
That's all I am.
So they just need to vote to go with the 5.75 with the understanding that it could change.
It could change.
Yes. So if there's any other, the biggest thing to highlight is any risk associated with it. I know if I was in y'all's position, that would be my biggest thing. What am I risking? Essentially, you would be risking that exact band portion. If we come in and we get bids and it comes in at a point where grants don't match up with the full project cost, you would have to still move forward with some project and come to an agreement with SRF for them to pay back that band. So that's basically the only thing that you're risking. I know we talked about that last month, but I just want to be 100% transparent so you guys understand what that is. I don't think we're going to have issues with it, but there's always the unknown of having another person come in and getting a contractor to bid and having that process. But I think that honestly the timeline should work really well with the big contractor that was out for the main project. I would anticipate that they would bid on this project as well. They are in Greenfield right now, so just move right back on down 70. That's Lycans, yeah.
So the
Not
odds are
something.
not that great that it would.
That it would not get bids? No, it's gonna get bids. Yeah, it's gonna get bids, so help me God.
So we're still gonna be responsible for the 105, no matter what.
No matter-
Well, it would come back from SRF, but you'd have to move forward with the project for it to come back for us
Right.
from
If
SRF.
not, then we're still responsible for the
Yes.
105. So really, our SRF is gonna, we won't pay anything out of our pocket.
But we just gotta
Besides,
give them
that will
the
take come
go-ahead.
away from the grants that, at the end, that might have additional funding that will be needed.
But right now, the grant coverage is only about 90% of what we're anticipating that project
Right.
cost is gonna be. So it
Right.
would still be in a loan, the form of a loan if it comes in at that max, but it would be a 2% loan over like 40 years. It's a much, or 35 years. It's a much different, thank you, Steve, 35. So it's a much different, I mean, that 5.75 is very interim. I also, that's 8 full months, and like I said, I really don't think that it's gonna take the 8 full months, as long as I can get through IDEM permitting quickly, and it's my intention to have them permit it really fast, because they've already permitted it once before, so I'm hoping they don't take their 90-day window, because that's crazy. So I'll be calling them. But I had to plan for them to take the 90-day window, because they're legally allowed to. So the sooner they approve things, the sooner I get that through, the sooner you guys are able to close on your regular financing and not pay the ban and interest, which again does get wrapped right into the SRF stuff, so it's not really that big of a deal, but as much of that we can eliminate as possible is obviously great, because it's just fees. So,
Joe, do you have anything to?
Not on
Yeah,
that front, I do have the ordinance to go
Okay.
over, but not on that
Okay.
part, yeah.
All right, then, I guess I'm asking for a motion whether or not we should move forward with this.
well, do you need to do the ordinance?
Do we do the ordinance first for
Okay.
that?
I think so,
Okay.
right? You would read the ordinance and then choose to move forward with the ordinance.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
So, with Ice Miller, Sarah
All right,
Connell,
Steve, I'm going to go.
Thanks, Steve. Anything else, can we call back?
Okay.
Thank you, guys, thank you.
Thanks.
okay. So with Ice Miller out of Indianapolis, Sarah Connell has prepared the ordinance for us. She sent it to me, I think it was on the 7th. I've reviewed it, discussed it with Amy as well, what the parameters are for it. The procedure for adopting this ordinance would be a little bit different, though. We would have to suspend our rules on taking it and waiting so long and then adopt it. I believe it was Steve that was asking that we actually adopt it today to move forward with the rest of the project. He's provided the timeline as well that does account for it being approved today. There's no language in here that throws me off at all. We've worked with Sarah and Ice Miller before on very similar projects to this, and it's substantially similar in every aspect. If I could just read the project description, I think from the ordinance from there, I can just take any questions if there are any, but we'll see. So the project includes a replacement of over 2 miles of water main, along with all associated equipment, new fire hydrants, lead and galvanized steel service line replacement, helping to bring a large portion of the town's distribution system up to date. The project is more fully described in and shall be in accordance with the preliminary engineering report in the plans and specifications approved by the Finance Authority. So I think with that, there are 29 different provisions that are all throughout this ordinance. It's 55 pages long. In addition to, we also have that exhibit that I just read, which is the scope of work. So in addition to that, if we do adopt and take on this ordinance today, we'll also have to sign the engagement letter, the privilege letter with Ice Miller as well. But I think everybody's up to date on all those terms and provisions also. So were there any kind of questions on how we adopt the ordinance or what we should do from here on? So.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Does that include the hydrants, and that 2 miles includes the hydrants and the new hydrants?
Yes, the
included?
hydrants for the whole town. That was like an abbreviated like.
That's the
summary
2
that I
miles
gave
plus the
her.
hydrants?
Yes, so
Okay.
2 miles plus the hydrants, plus lead service line replacement for the remainder of everything else that we found in town. So everyone else that got potholed and identified as galvanized or lead, that would replace all their mains. Any of the associated valves with those 2.5 miles is included in there. all the connections to get you connected the same way, as you are now. It's just like a full-fledged replacement of that amount of water main. So you'll be down to like, I think maybe 20% of town is not new at the end of it all, maybe. So like 80% of town is brand new water main by the end of that project.
So what do we need to do?
Phil, if you would, I think, make the motion to, let me see my cheat sheet here, to suspend the rules to adopt the bond ordinance in this meeting, and then take the vote on it. We just have to get the ordinance number and signatures on it. I've got them marked out where the signatures
So
should be
do I
as
have a
well.
motion that we do this?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So the motion's carried.
Yes, sir. Yep, that is good. And then also, Phil, you'll be signing this as with your role for the engagement letter as well. But I'll pass this out to you afterwards. I don't think you need a vote on that. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So here is the ordinance for you. Amy, do you have a number for the ordinance? No, okay, yeah. It just came in blank, so it's sort of well, it's still be 2024 ordinance to adopt it, but whatever sequential number that we're at on this.
It's a scroll. Yeah, it's a scroll next to the source.
What's the name?
Because I better use
Oh, really? We can just.
I'm thinking.
Yeah, so.
24-1-1.
Yeah. Engagement letters as well. I've already dated it, that's this report. So,
Thank you.
What's that?
They asked me to just go work
Yeah.
Guess what I'm doing tomorrow? On markup. No. Designing this water main. Trying to get it, hopefully I can get it at least my drafter before I go on honeymoon so that he can get it done while I'm somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Philip has them in there to sign.
So, yeah, just.
You have stuff in there, Philip, that you have to sign.
They do a lot of work.
So we'll move on to that.
I think, yeah, Joe, are we good to move on at that point?
Yes.
He just has to sign some stuff afterwards.
Philip.
Right, yeah, everybody
Yeah,
else,
you got the
sign.
first one.
the ordinance and then the engagement letter, that's it. Those are only two.
All right, moving on, we would normally have we normally would have the water and sewage update, but at this point in time, Bruce is no longer an employee with the town, and so our trainee, Quentin Foreman, has taken over, and Teddy will continue to train him. And on our water testing, Micah Stuckey and his associates have taken over, and they'll participate in Quentin's training and prepping him for the test and whatever he needs to do. So it's a pretty smooth transition.
Doug met with him Quentin here this morning to do their first official water testing under guidance. So now they'll be here probably for the next 3 months solid with Quentin. And then they're on call 24 hours a day. If we have a water main break, they want to be here.
And possibly if they can tutor him well enough that he can test out of even taking the class,
Yeah.
that would be great.
They also offered him all the books and educational material that he'll need to take the test. And they're gonna quiz him as they go through the training as well, because they remember the questions that are on the test. So we're off on a good start.
Yeah, we're off on a good start. Okay, Do you wanna go before Nick, or do you want Nick to go?
Would prefer to go at the end.
Okay, Nick,
I have a quick
Nick's
question.
gonna talk for the fire.
On that water project, what type of hydrants are those gonna be?
It'll be Mueller, Centurion,
Okay.
250s, I
Are
think.
they gonna have storage connections on these hydrants, or will they just be capped?
It would have storage connections unless you want us to spec something else. We haven't spec'd it yet, so we can spec
What-
whatever y'all want.
What would be cheapest? We carry screw-on storage connections on the apparatus,
They're
so if
probably
it's
gonna be the
cheaper,
same.
you know what I'm saying, just
Yeah.
for their benefit, you know, so that is just a question I had.
They're
That-
probably gonna be really similar, cause you
Okay.
only have like 33, I think.
Okay,
So when you talk about economies of scale of it, it's not enough that I don't think you'll get it too crazy of a different pricing, but I can call utility supply and see, like, we can get a couple that the fire department would be okay with, and then I can call them and say, hey, if you were gonna give a contractor a price on these, which of these would be, the best price, and then we can spec that.
perfect.
Nick that far in.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. If you're not familiar with me, my name is Nicholas Bove. I am the interim fire chief of Milton Township Fire Department. This evening, I would like to start off with our run report for October. We responded to 18 runs in October. We responded to 3 motor vehicle accidents, 3 fires. The rest of the month were all medical runs. You guys, I believe, if you don't, most of you have in front of you the percentages on runs we responded to last month. Next, I would like to bring up, there was an improvement team, 4 of us that were appointed to help with a kind of a transitional period in improving the fire department. One of those members has decided to resign from that team. He is still on the fire department as a probationary member. His name is Jameson Warren. We just accepted an official resignation letter from him, from the advisory committee, and he currently remains on probationary status. I have copies of that letter for all of you, which I can get with you guys and get these to you if you would like those. Let's see what else I have here for you guys. I believe that is everything on my end. I have brought my current appointed operations chief, Joshua Hensley, with me, and he is going to take over for me at this point on speaking to you guys.
Well, thanks for the introduction, Nick. Some of you guys know me. I know Larry and Donnie, we go way back, back when I was on Milton years ago. So currently Nick put me in the operations chief position, so I kind of wanted to go over some things with you guys that we're doing at the fire department. We did contact ESO. They are a reporting agency where all medical calls that the fire department responds on will be documented and reported through this program, which will automatically flip it to the fire side and send the NIPRS report to the state and federal level, as well as our department. So it will get sent out 3 different directions with this ESO program. So I'm waiting on Melanie. She's, unfortunately, this rep that sells ESO is in California, so that time difference, you know, the last couple of days we've had a hard time linking up as far as that. But she did send me or left a voicemail today, said that she would get back with me tomorrow on that. I contacted a couple different companies for the DOT high-vis vest for the department. We do have some. They were the cheaper versions. They're wearing out. As we know, that is kind of a state thing. It's actually it's an OSHA thing. We have 2 different organizations that fire falls under, NFPA and OSHA. Indiana is not an NFPA state, they're an OSHA state. So one thing that you're going to find with the fire service is that anything that the NFPA does, OSHA is following right behind it. And I'm talking probably within 60 to 90 days, OSHA is saying the same thing NFPA is saying. So with that being said, if we get somebody that goes out here on a car accident and they're in traffic and somebody gets hit, a member of our department, and they don't have a high-vis vest, the likelihood of them getting paid out or their families being taken care of is slim to none. So that's something that we need to make sure is taken care of. Currently, there's enough for every seat on the truck. We would like to get one for every member and it just stay on them all the time. It makes it difficult when they're just in the seats. Indiana Department of Homeland Security, I did contact them. We're working to access ACADIS for the records for all trainings, and be able to enter all trainings through ACADIS through the state. not only that, but it will give us every certification for every member of the department, what they've had training-wise, where they stand. Fire departments work a little bit different, depending on what certification you have, determines what you can do on the fire ground. That's things that we're gonna follow from here on out. So we're working on the access for that. I just sent that yesterday. I received an email. Now I'm just waiting on the District 6 Representative Robin Stump from Indiana Department of Homeland Security to get back with me for us to have that access. Currently, Nicole is working on getting everybody's certifications and stuff like that to have them in a file so we can get that back to you. But like I said, once we had it in ACADIS, there's no hiding that. You know, if they take a class somewhere else and that's entered through ACADIS, we will see that. Okay, so we will have that here at the department. Currently working on obtaining serial numbers of all issued equipment to each member. Everything that is issued's got a serial number. The bunker coats, the turnout, the bunker pants, everything, boots, all serial numbers. So we're writing down the serial numbers, who it's issued to, what its expiration date is. For those of you that do not know, fire gear does expire in 10 years. That is an NFPA and an OSHA standard. So it will expire. We've got some stuff that's coming up next year. So we've got a guy that's coming on I'll talk to you about here in a few minutes. It's really good with grants. So we're going to work on getting some grants for gear. That's priority number one for us right now. Okay. The trucks we got, you guys know, what are we doing? 300 calls a year at the most. So the trucks are actually in really good shape. I think they went through pump testing year before last or something like that. So the pumps are in good shape. The trucks are running good. You know, they're not really a major concern for me right now.
We're in the process of getting every one of them serviced one by one.
Yep.
And I'm going to stop you right there and add
Okay.
something in that I forgot to mention
Sure.
earlier. We also just did an oil and air, oil filter and air filter change on tanker 3, and we just installed new batteries and rescue one.
Okay. So all that's taken care of. I think Blake is taking care of kind of the maintenance on the truck, which that's what he does, so he's perfect for that. Training schedule. Here's what I want to talk to you about the training schedule for the fire department. We just tonight accepted a new member. Matt Bartlett's got 28 years in the fire service. Currently he works part-time, kind of a dedicated part-time member of Buck Creek Township Fire Department in Hancock County. For those of you that do not know, I am Greenfield Fire Territory in Hancock County. So we do about 7,000 calls a year. Buck Creek, I'm not sure where they're at, but we are currently, working on some things. Our run numbers, I think, are going to jump dramatically probably within the next year that I can't delve into. But with that being said, Matt Bartlett, he wants to come in. We would like to appoint him chief of training. And the reason we would like to do that is because Matt comes with 28 years. He's got instructor 1 and 2, so we can do in-house firefighter 1 and 2 classes, offer those out to other departments and do that right here. The big thing for me is I want to get the fire department to a point to where we're not just training ourselves, but we're cross-training with Milton Police Department. We're cross-training with Cambridge City Police Department and Cambridge City Fire. One thing that we do at Greenfield I want to bring here is the issue and the acceptance of a field operations guide that lays out what each apparatus will do on the fire ground, so there's no confusion. Milton Fire Department, it's a professional department, right? It's just manned by volunteers, right? So with that being said, we just want it to operate, like any fire department in the state would operate, just volunteer. And there's something to be said for volunteers that do that, and give their time in that. These guys did it for a lot of years, So I'm sure, we appreciate Larry and Donnie, and, hopefully they appreciate what I'm trying to do here. So with that being said, we're going to let Matt do the training schedule, but it's not going to be limited to just fire suppression. EMS calls, we're looking at probably 85% of our run load in EMS, right? And it's that way for every fire department across the state. So training is going to include BLS, CPR, American Heart Association. When we have those classes, police department, absolutely. If you guys need that, we'd like to have you. Any of you town board members that would like to get your certification when we have those classes, we'd like to have that. And we'd even like to look at something opening up to the public. So if people in town want their CPR card and stuff like that and that certification, they can come right here to the firehouse and get that. Because it's not just about having a fire department, but it's about making this community a family and involving them in what we do there. So we're going to have that. It's going to be fire suppression, extrication, ventilation. We're even going to teach fire dynamics, water sources and drafting. The medical trainings and stuff like that is going to be in accordance to whatever the state requires. Okay, so if we have basic EMTs on the department, their training through the department will be dictated through the year, or they're on a 2-year certification over those 2 years for them to obtain as many hours as possible that the state requires. Okay, that's not always going to be possible. They're going to have some outside training and stuff like that. But online education, we can go through ACADIS, through the Indiana Department of Homeland Security. There are online classes that we can issue out. The training chief may do that. I'm going to leave that up to Matt, but I want to let you know that we can do online education and assign certain classes for those that are new to the department. Highway and hazardous materials billing for Milton, Washington Township Volunteer Fire Department is going to get started immediately. If we get a call out here where there are hazardous materials involved, we are going to bill that per the state guidelines and the state law, which is going to be good for Milton. You know, I'd say these guys probably remember, I'm going to refer back to an accident on I-70 that's been 20-some years ago now, back when I was on Milton, where 2 semi-drivers, one crossed the line, hit another one head on, and they both perished in the fire. We were on that fire, where you were on then, so you were not. So we were probably on that fire about 5 or 6 hours, 7 hours maybe. It was a long time, and there was a lot of water shuttled back and forth. It destroyed the interstate, and it had to be redone. But that call right there brought in Milton, Washington Township around $50,000. So with that being said, I'm not saying that that's going to happen every year. You know, I'm not saying that's going to happen every week. It may be 10 years before we ever get another incident like that again. But anything that we can bill like that, if we go out on a hazardous materials call and we bring in $1,000, that's $1,000 we didn't have, right? And the nice thing about that too is if we have gear damaged, hazardous materials hit our gear, those can be replaced per that state statute as well. So that will be billed to their insurance company, not to the individual. Which that's why they have commercial operators insurance and vehicle insurance and stuff like that. That's what that's for. They're going to give it out anyway. We might as well take it. So new members are going to be required to complete, you know, state-approved courses. They will be permitted to partake in fire suppression activities, but there are a lot of these guys that don't have firefighter 1 and 2. They're going to be limited to like exterior attacks, setting up forms of egresses, whether those be ladders, putting up on 2-story structures, water supply, apparatus operations, and stuff to that extent. This Matt that I talked to you about with 28 years experience already has a schedule put together for a firefighter 1 and 2 class. Once you obtain firefighter 1 and 2, the sky's the limit. So these guys that want to take this class that do not have it already, we have a lot of members that do, but the ones that don't, once they take this firefighter 1 and 2 course, will just be able to just go with it. They can do interior attacks, you know, ventilation, all kinds of things that are needed. So we're really going to stress, you know, the new firefighting dynamics. Firefighting's changed over the years, structures have changed, and we want to teach these guys what the fire does to the building, what the building does to the fire. So we want to bring everybody home. We're right now, I know there was some talk about appointing an EMS chief. Here's how we want, I think the department is too small at this point in time. Nick can help me speak on this to kind of do that. Here's how we kind of wanted to work that. We would like to work with, like I said, 3 chiefs. However we deem this necessary, we're trying to work this out. You guys know what it's like to have too many chiefs and not enough Indians, right? So you start naming chief, before you know it, you got a problem and you got people butting heads, okay? So what we would like to do is just go with the chief. Nick is doing a phenomenal job. Tell you, I got almost 27 years in this profession myself, and Nick is doing amazing. He's been on the phone with everybody, working things out. I want to tell you guys that we just had 6 more applicants for the fire department that are phenomenal guys that come with fire certifications that are just salt of the earth. They can speak on an adult level and get things done. So we're already 6 more members up. And that's just happened in the last 4 or 5 days. With that being said, we would like to do a chief of operations, and then a training chief, which is the way most fire departments work. And then from there, we will appoint captains and lieutenants. Now, when we do this, and I know I'm getting windy, and I apologize, I'll try to make it short. When we do officers, we want to do this awarded on a points basis. The problem with small volunteer departments is you get a lot of guys that, you get the buddy system. We want to eliminate that buddy system when it comes to our officers, okay? So officers will be awarded on points: education, experience, different type of interviews and scenarios that we put in place. And when it comes to the interviews that we do, we would like to bring in members of other departments to do our interview for us. Does it make sense? If you got members from other departments doing your interview, you've got a non-biased opinion on who should be that next officer. So, one thing I'd like to ask from you guys, if we can purchase Microsoft Office for the fire department, because we do not have Word, we do not have Excel, we do not have anything on that computer down there. If you guys have it and we can just over to us, that would be wonderful.
Yeah.
If that can be
I
done.
can tell IT.
Okay, because there's some things on there that we definitely need to do what we do. Another thing, I kind of got with Donnelly Safety and talked to them just a little bit. They do have rapid delivery gear. I think we're just going to look more into that. That's not really a conversation for now. But if we go with like Donnelly spec rapid delivery gear, we're looking about $3,000 a set. So that'll kind of give you guys an idea of what this is going to cost. So that's all I've got for now. Does anybody have any questions for me at all? Donnie, Larry? I'm good.
Do they still not come in and test the pumps every
Yes.
so often?
Yeah, they actually just did those. Was that last
I think it was either last year or the year before
I
last.
can't
They
remember
did.
what
the
it
pressure
was. They
test.
used to come in and done it.
Yeah.
Last year.
And you were talking about certifying for CPR and stuff, wasn't you?
Yep.
We used to have to carry an 8-hour card where we had an 8-hour training course on that.
Yeah, that's gone now. What you
That's
do
not-
is, well, it is an 8-hour technically,
I
but
can't.
it's a one-day American Heart Association, and they'll do like BLS and CPR. So there's a little bit of first aid associated with that, as well as CPR for, child.
We had to do, we had to go through that.
Yeah, yeah, we're requiring that for every member across the board. So for those that do not have it, when they come into the fire department, that's gonna be one certification that they will have. Yeah. So, any other questions?
So when we talk about liquids that are spilled,
Uh-huh.
engine oil, transmission oil, antifreeze, does that all fall under that category?
It absolutely does. Anything that is made in that aspect falls under the hazardous materials, because it's not,
It's environment, some of
it's
it's
supposed to be
environmental.
contained, correct? So yeah, oil, transmission fluid, coolants, some of the coolants are actually kind of biodegradable coolants now. But if we have, say we have a semi fire and, it's carrying other cars, and we're getting rubber run off onto the road, all that's considered hazardous materials. So there are certain things that you can. Now, we're not gonna go down the street here and say, you, Mr. Smith, have a house fire, God forbid, right? But if you do, we're not billing for that. We're just billing for the guys that are coming down the road, that have hazardous materials, and we're involved in that. We can bill for, I'm not sure if we can bill for equipment replacement if there's something damaged in that. I know we can bill for gear that is damaged. We will bill for the oil dry or kitty litter, whatever that we put down. We can bill for that. So if we say we used 8 bags of kitty litter on trying to, dam and dike, a containment area, then we can bill them for that. And then we will bill them for initial apparatus response for a particular apparatus, and every hour after that they're on scene. So some of these can add up pretty quick. Some of them are fairly simple, So, and like I said, we're 300 run a year department, so there might be, a handful of those in a year. But if there's a handful and we get $1,000 for each, that's just. But one thing that I do want to stress is, everything that the fire department gets in is going to probably have to just go back to the fire department, because like I just explained to you, $3,000 in gear for one set. And that's just the coat and the pants and the suspenders. That's not including the Nomex hood they have to have, the helmet they have to have, the gloves they have to have, and the boots on their feet.
Well, the fire department's up there on the county anyway, so.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
Everything you gotta be able to go back into it.
Yeah. So the way we'd like to work this is when we build this, it will just be, build back, and it would just go to Amy, and it would be put into our account. So there will be $0 handled at the fire department whatsoever. We come here. Yep.
What if we just had, a few years, about 10 years ago, we had a semi coming through and the oil filter burst.
Yeah.
It's dropping oil all over the road. We were able to contain it, keeping it from going into our drainage.
Right.
Would that be something we need to call the fire department
Absolutely.
Yes.
in accordance with that?
Yeah,
Because at
absolutely.
the time,
Yep.
I had 2 bags of stuff in my garage, so I took care of a lot of it.
Yep.
But it was something that, it happened,
Right. Yep.
and, probably 10 gallons of oil.
Yep.
Yeah,
came out.
that is absolutely
Yep.
a hazmat incident at that point.
Yep. So, even though you take care of it yourself, still call the fire department and have us show up, Because one thing I want us to, advise you guys on this is when it comes to grants. Grants is gonna go off our reporting. So everything that we do is gonna be reported to the state. That's starting immediately. Every call's gonna go to the state, the federal level. We'll have it at the fire department. So we go off reporting. They go off of education and things that we do in the fire department to better the department. It also goes off for unload. So if you got a little incident here, it's still cool to call 911 and say, hey, this isn't exactly an emergency, but I'd like the fire department to show up, and you know what I'm saying? So if we just add 4 or 5 more calls a year, that's 4 or 5 more calls that goes into that grant that we're applying for, So that's big things. And it's important to me to keep, Milton Fire Department here and bring it back, Nick and I, and all the members. Because one thing I want to stress is if something ever happened to your local fire department here, and now you start getting response from other departments. Now, what's the first thing that they ask you when you go for homeowners insurance? Where's your fire department at? How close is it to you? How close are you to a hydrant? So when we start losing departments and we start losing apparatus, which I don't foresee happening here, when we do that, we're talking worse ISO numbers. And when you're talking worse ISO numbers, you're talking higher insurance rates at your home, right? So why don't we pay just that little bit of tax that everybody pays into to protect the fire department, protect the police department, and your public safety, to make sure that nobody like Larry and Donnie, and I'm just picking on them because we go way back, but these guys, their insurance rates from going sky high, because the closest response they had is 10 or 15 minutes, and I'm not saying that Cambridge is 10 or 15 minutes away, but Cambridge, you gotta figure this, they're volunteer also. So what does it take them to get from home to the department, to get their truck started, to get them here? These homes burn fast, and it's important that we're right down the road from you guys, so. That's what we're working towards. I joked with him this past week, I said, we're gonna make Milton Fire Department great again, so that's our goal. And if there's anything we can do for you guys ever have any questions for us, don't hesitate to ask. But I'm looking forward to having these 6 new members on, and us just growing from there. Anything else for me?
I'd just like to say I appreciate your report.
Yep.
I respect what you're doing for our department.
Appreciate that. Yep, appreciate it.
We've got a tough crew, and we're going in the right direction.
We appreciate you guys. Thank you very much.
We once was one of the best fire departments in Wayne County as far as I was concerned.
Well, that's the goal. I told him we'll make it great again and make Milton the envy of every other department in this county.
It used to be that way, and it will be that way again.
Thank you, Dutch. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
All right.
Do you want me to give them any of these copies that I got, just to show them what direction we're going on the back end of things?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Give them these as well. These ones are pretty cool.
Okay.
Y'all, I hate to jump shit, but I've got things to do early in the morning, so if you guys don't have anything else for me, I'm gonna leave it to them.
Thanks, sir. I appreciate it.
So we got some of this.
These are the,
It's good to see you.
letter of resignation.
You too, man.
In case everyone wants copies.
Excuse me.
Take one, pass it down. So I really hate to go after him because that kind of makes me sound not as smart as I think I am. But my name's Nicole, for everybody that doesn't know me. I'm an EMT with
the fire department. And currently, right now, I also feel like a secretary. I've been going through all the paperwork from previous years, trying to find what we can utilize, what do we have, what'll still work, what won't work for today's department, because a lot of the stuff is old, it's outdated, and it's just not gonna work for us. I did not think to grab enough copies for everybody. I just want to kind of show you on the back end what I've been doing to try and help things run smoother on the billing aspect, on the filing aspect, on what you guys will get in here every month. So I'll just give Amy each one. You guys can, A, she can either make copies, or B, you guys can just pass it down and look at it. So one of the things that we've implemented, and I will get one typed up. This was kind of a real quick last minute. We need to have something. This is going to be like a service description. So if any work is done at all on the trucks, this form will be filled out, and eventually it will be a nice, pretty typed form. I can only do things so fast, plus work. But each truck now has its own file. So we service the grass truck, that's going to go in the grass truck service file. Same, with the engine, it goes in the engine. So if you want to come and say, hey, when's the last time engine 4 was serviced, I can go right to the filing cabinet, grab engine 4 and say, here you go. This is something they used to utilize. I believe you guys, which again will be a better typed version, you guys probably recognize it as this is what you got with what calls you got. This will now be a similar form to this, will be utilized as a fire narrative. So any fire runs that we go on, A, either the highest officer, or B, the officer or the firefighter with the most seniority or experience, when we get back to station, we'll have to write out a narrative for that call that will be attached to the call report, that will be attached to the CAD report, so that if 2 years down the road, so-and-so's insurance company calls and says, hey, we need to know what happened, here you go. Here's what happened. So, again, that'll be something that's typed up a little prettier.
And that's I'm also going to show what firefighters was on those scenes.
So, it's going to be attached to the call form. So, on the call form, it will say what apparatuses, let me see if I grabbed one of those. Oh, aha, I did, right here. This is our call report. This tells you what apparatuses responded, how many people were riding in that apparatus, and down on the bottom here it tells you which members responded. So it'll be attached to this. On the other aspect of that, if it is a medical run, we now have medical forms. So this will have all the information for a medical form, including a narrative. This is something that if you guys would want to see copies of, it wouldn't be a problem. However, for patient confidentiality, the top of it will have to be cut off. But if you guys need to see a narrative of what was done on that call, that's fine. I can turn that in. But this, on the aspect of a medical run, this is what will be attached to all of that.
Where'd you find those at?
The medical run forms?
Yeah.
We actually, Chad had them made not too long ago. I found a whole box of them and said, these are great, we're going to utilize them.
I made those.
You made them? Well, they're now going to be utilized. In the process, I didn't have anything that's specific for motor vehicle accidents, but similar to the fire run report and medical reports, there's going to be an MVA form that if it's a motor vehicle accident, and again, there's a narrative that gets attached to that. I want different reports for different types of calls. As far as personnel files, I've got a checklist here. I'm going to let you guys look at it. This is everything that's going to go in every member's file. Just so you guys can see what's going to be in it. On that list, you'll see that there is a code of ethics, which goes way back. I found tucked deep in a file and said, hey, we should be signing these. So that's something that will go in with it that every volunteer will be expected to sign. And then there's also, Wayne County has, it's called a Communications Call Data Confidentiality Agreement, which has not been being utilized in there, and everybody should sign this because it's essentially what it is it's saying if I run to Mrs. Johnson's house for a cardiac arrest, I cannot come tell you I went to Mrs. Johnson's house. Essentially, it's the communications form of HIPAA. I can tell you I went on a cardiac arrest call, but I cannot give out their personal data. So this is a signed agreement between each member and Wayne County Communications saying that we will keep people's private information private. And so those are things that are going to be going into their file. And I think that on my end, that's the best that I can offer you guys right now. That's the legwork that I'm trying to pull on the background. I've never been a secretary, so this is, interesting for me trying to play it until we get one in there. But I just want you guys to kind of stay updated that we are pushing for these changes. We are pushing to make things better. We are pushing for accountability in that department.
You want to help us?
No.
So
I
we're
mean,
gonna
because
do,
logging of actions, that really comes into play.
Do what?
Logging of
Right.
actions of fixing something.
Well, it's
repairing.
accountability for each person and the department. It's very likely if there's an accident or a fire or a medical emergency that 5 years down the road, lawyers or insurance companies can come back and they're gonna say, we need more details than we provided. Well, by writing out a narrative, there's those details. I don't have to try and keep it up here. I mean, I like to, but after you go on so many runs of calls, you just can't do it. I mean, I know my most memorable calls, the most memorable ones that you never forget, but you don't remember every single one. And if somebody is taking accountability and writing out a narrative on that, then it makes it much easier, especially since I've created a filing system now for each year will have its own file for what we're doing. And that way, if Harry Johnson calls me and says, hey, you had a fire at this address on December 2nd, 2025, and I need more information on it, I can go right to my file, pull, here's 2025, here's December, here you go, here's what we got. So that's what I'm trying to do, is make sure that everything's easily accessible, everything's in black and white, and the department and its members are accountable for what's going on.
Thank you.
In closing, the only other thing I have with the fire department, this is the last thing I'll bring up for the night as far as the fire department. When it comes to my position as interim chief, the only thing I have to ask of you guys, I believe you guys are accepting applications. I would like to ask that you guys consider appointing me for
It's right there in front of them.
I would ask that you guys consider appointing me at least for a 1-year term. Things are going good right now. I believe firmly that I've got the right people in the right spots to keep this ball rolling, and I'd hate for something to happen and throw a jam in that. So that's all I've got for you guys. If there's any other questions you guys have for the fire department, I'm more than happy to field them. But that's what I've got for you guys.
His application and all his certifications are in that yellow envelope right there.
So before they were redoing the bylaws, so are you working on updated bylaws,
Yes, ma'am.
standards,
Yep.
That is-
operating procedures and all
Yep,
that?
that is all in the works. It is gonna be a little bit time consuming, so for the moment, what we did was we actually found old bylaws and old SOPs, and we just kind of revised them a little bit. However, we can't just bring them to you and say this is it. We still have to, every member has to agree that the revisions, the little tweaks that we've made are still okay to put in place as a temporary order. So that's what we are, our next meeting will probably consist of passing that out to the members and saying what you think. And I think it's a 3-vote process. However, if we can get it passed through the first vote, I have no problem turning it into Amy, letting you guys look it over so you guys can see that there is a temporary in progress.
That sounds great.
Thank you.
Good job.
Appreciate it.
You have a plan, we just have to execute it.
That is right.
Right.
That's right. And in case anybody's wondering what I do for a full-time job, I do work for Greenwood, their 911 service. I work out of Station 93 up there, so I am getting that experience that hopefully I don't have to utilize too much out here, but it is there.
And I currently work on a full-time schedule for East Madison Fire Territory on the east side of Anderson, Indiana. We cover Richland and Union Townships surrounding Anderson. Something I hope will make you guys rest a little easier at night is that everybody I currently have in my mind for officer selections are all do this as a career. They are well seasoned, they know what they're doing, they're the right people to have the right spots.
What's the mileage radius if they live in Milton?
Right now, what we are looking at for going forward will be for membership will be for the town of Milton, Washington Township, and we're looking at a 5-mile grace period on the outside of the jurisdiction, is what we are looking at currently. But we are, she just reminded me of something I brought up earlier, we are working on a kind of new way of doing things. A lot of volunteer departments in the state of Indiana are allowing members to be on their fire department as long as they fulfill, if they live outside the jurisdiction, as long as they fulfill between 12 to 24 hours minimum a month of on-station time. That is something we are looking at putting in place.
So to kind of dumb that down for anybody that doesn't understand it, let's say Tom Harry from Newcastle, maybe he just graduated high school and he's thinking about a career, but he wants to get on our volunteer department because maybe we can offer him more classes, you know, because we have better instructors or whatever. We would say, okay, you know, we'll take you on as a member if you will sign up for, we'll say 3 8-hour shifts that you stay on station per month. So, you know, so it'd be 24 hours that they dedicate to the station, and it's not in 2-hour increments. They would pick 3 8-hour shifts or 2 12-hour shifts a month on top of coming to the training and the meetings.
The light coming down there.
That's just something that's being discussed. It would be an option, and it would help pull in members, and it would also help pull in some, you know, I don't want to say full-time coverage, because full-time coverage is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But, you know, through the winter time, we have snow, we have ice. It would be really good to have these people say, hey, I will come and sit on station for 8 hours, so that we don't have to worry about other members getting out in that weather to answer a call.
And it helps them because they get experience in the fire department, and it helps you guys because your station's manned.
Yep.
I agree.
All right then. What do we want to look at now? Unfinished business?
We got 3 guys sitting down here.
Oh, okay.
Oh, your turn. Your turn.
It's your
Yeah,
turn,
we got 3
Tom.
guys down here.
That sounds like business.
So I want to start by saying, you know, we already have established a very, very good relationship with Nick and his team down there as a department. And I have been very, very impressed by what I've seen to this point, the level of collaboration. And they, from start to today, they have already talked about all the things that they think they can do to better the relationships between the police department, the fire department. We've talked about some new innovative ideas that we think may take Milton Emergency Services into the future. So a lot of good things happening there, and I can tell you that already that team has our vote of confidence. So I would say for those of you that don't know much about what's going on behind the scenes, get some popcorn, because it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. They're doing some great things over there. So keep that in mind. I think you're going to see some really cool things in the very near future. So in terms of law enforcement, as many of you know, on town council, we received our very first law enforcement, to my knowledge, our very first law enforcement budget. I can't tell you how excited we are about that. And, you know, first I'd like to thank the clerk's office. You know, the clerk's office and Amy's leadership is probably the biggest factor that made that happen. She went, you know, she came to the department heads. Prior, as all of you know, we've robbed Peter to pay Paul for the existence of the police department. We exist out of grant money. We exist out of moving money from this account to that account. You know, go fundraise, go do anything we could do. I mean, you know, as most of you will recall, we probably brought in over $40,000 this last year just by going out and asking for money and equipment. So it's such a big milestone that we now have a budget. We went to the state when I was asked to come up with a budget as the department head. What's ideal? We fully expected that there would be some negotiation process there and that the budget wouldn't be fully funded as submitted. We were blessed. The budget was fully funded as submitted. So we're excited about that. To give you an idea, you know, we asked for some different things to include staffing levels, vehicle money, no more asking for, you know, who will give us a vehicle that we can run another 20,000 miles on and having to shop every month. You know, so we asked for enough money for vehicles, equipment for the vehicles, payroll for staffing, anything that goes along with meeting those particular staffing needs to provide the community with the best policing service that it does deserve. And it was all approved. So with that being said, you know, first of all, congratulations to you as a community. I mean, I think that's a pretty big hurdle. We would like, with that said, we'd like to also make a couple changes after the first of the year with that budget. One of the changes we'd like to ask you all to approve is a change in Sergeant Badle's position, in the hours of his position from its current existence of 16 to 20 to 40. And then we'd also like to refill his position, the part-time position, when that happens. But other than that, and letting you all know that that's here, that's become a reality, and we'll start in 2025. You know, I just wanted to share that good news, which we're pretty excited about. So again, that budget includes all the things that go along with the police department, you know, maintenance of the vehicle, purchase of vehicles, training, clothing, you know, you name it. So it was an unbelievable windfall for us that now will be an annual thing. So it's one of those deals that now that it exists, because we asked for it, and the state said, yeah, you need this. This is where you should be at in terms of protection.
Have our money.
Yeah, we have it.
Fund your police department, please.
So that's all I have, unless you have any questions for me. And
Are we gonna have a donut party to celebrate?
easy.
Donuts and coffee for
Sprinkles or
everybody.
no sprinkles? I'm not kidding. Like, we'll do this.
I like the cinnamon glazed.
I was gonna say they didn't laugh at that.
I know. You saw Tom.
Yeah.
Matt likes donuts.
Yes, he does.
Oh. Not right now. I'm on a diet right now. Sorry.
We have a picture of that.
I know. Amy got me one day. She hands me a donut and says, "Here." And I said, "Awesome." And then a picture got taken. So.
I'm pretty impressed with our emergency safety services team,
Emergency services.
whatever it's called. They've came a long way in a short period of time. They've come a long way in a short period of time. All of 11 months.
Now the state funds us.
Do we have a code of ethics that they follow?
Yeah, it's a state code of ethics. We actually do it at the academy.
You got that out real quick.
It's a whole thing. Like if you don't, like if a drill instructor comes up to you and asks you, you have to be able to recite it. Otherwise, it's push-ups.
Oh, I recited.
I can't now.
Push-ups for Matt.
Yeah.
Just kidding, dude.
We're jumping jack.
I got it wrote down on a flashcard somewhere. So.
Donuts to push-ups in the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
That's how we do. So.
Are we ready to move on?
Well, we would need, we are asking for approval to make the changes for
So it would have to be,
2025.
it would have to be voted on.
We'd like it, I don't know that it has to be, but we'd like it to be voted on. So change Matt's current position from 16 to 20 hours to 40, and then backfill his position when it comes available. And those are all within the parameters of what we asked for and
And
did
this is our
receive.
budget?
Yeah.
That we asked for and did receive,
And then
all,
some.
as well as all the expenses that go along with it.
We probably need to have an executive meeting.
You can't vote executive meeting.
I know, but we can discuss things, and then we can vote in December before January.
Do you want them here? The officers? Just an executive meeting with the council?
That's fine too. I mean, it's just here, what, a couple weeks, I guess. We gotta figure out what we're gonna do about that too, and talk about that too, so. I have no problem with it, but yeah.
When do you wanna have it?
I know you have to pay.
Oh, that's right. Oh, we gotta talk about that too.
We're going to.
When do you wanna have it?
Thanksgiving Day?
No, I'll be eating. I'll be round, or on Thanksgiving Day.
What's the,
No, I'll be around.
I can't get away from family.
what day is you?
I'll be in a coma.
Man. See, the first is a Monday.
Monday?
December 1st is a Monday?
No, it's Sunday. December 2nd's a Monday.
I was like, I'm looking at the wrong calendar.
Yeah, it was just the S's. Saturday, Sunday.
It doesn't matter when
Can we do it December 2nd,
I'm good with that.
Monday.
first Monday of the month,
Yep, I'm good with that.
Works.
December 2nd?
Maybe.
6 o'clock?
No, he ain't gonna do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if we have to, we can make it 5:30. It doesn't matter. Whatever time you guys want.
Where's good for you?
Whatever works.
5, 6, what we doing?
Whatever, tell me. I'm
I
just
mean, we
writing
can
it
do
down.
that.
5:30, 6 o'clock. Which is it?
Take my lunch. Take my lunch.
I'd say
6?
6.
Yeah,
6. I erased that for nothing. I did too. Okay. Anything else, Kevin?
Nope, that's it from us. Thanks, sir.
All right, we have some things we need to decide on under unfinished business or reports from council. One item that we need to decide on, we need to vote on whether or not to unfreeze our wages. Council's wages have been froze for what, 2 years, 3 years?
Yeah.
And everyone else that works for the state gets a 3% cost of living raise.
No.
What's up?
This is for you. That's the insurance and
Oh, is that the paperwork you told me?
Cool,
to pick
perfect.
up?
Thank you.
I already got those out of there.
Nicole, do you want these back?
Awesome.
No, you guys can,
Okay,
make copies
I'll
of
give it to
those,
you.
look them over, whatever you guys wanna do with them.
Yeah, right.
Thank you all for your time. We're
Yes,
going to go ahead
thank
and
you,
do that.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So at this point, I'd ask if I would have a motion to unfreeze our wages.
I'll make a motion to unfreeze.
Motion made,
I'll second it.
second, all approved? Aye. All opposed? Motion carried, wages are unfrozen.
So now on the wage ordinance that you have, the number that's on there is correct.
Correct. All right, another issue that I want to get over with tonight because we dragged it on way too long. We have 3 checks that need to be decided on from the bicentennial. And if I would have a motion to vote on this, approving these checks, I'll wait for the motion.
I thought one check was already issued, and cashed.
Is one check cashed?
Yes, that was in July, that was the band.
Okay, then the other 2 checks. So I would have a motion for the other 2 checks to be taken care of.
I'll make a motion to approve them.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion approved. Also, under unfinished business, we are discussing we're gonna discuss employee handbook.
Yeah, the only thing I want is, those are the outstanding things that haven't been completed. The employee handbook update and the ordinances, there's I think 3 left. Is it 4 that you gave to me that you commonly write for?
All right, what ordinances do we need?
I gave them
were we
to you
needing?
guys.
No, that's the 4, I'm like, I
Me
don't know
neither.
There was the. One was the chickens.
Yeah, well, that's one, and then, I don't remember, it's, yeah, me too, I don't remember what they were, but I gave them to you guys.
Quarter. The junkyard one. was that?
Yeah.
Reword that one.
The junkyard?
Yeah, gotta reword that one.
What you consider, is what you consider a junkyard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because it reads as metals and scrap.
That would be by my house.
Is not really what I would think of anyway when I think of junkyard.
Yeah.
What was the third one?
The chicken one is in the.
Look at my house.
I know that.
Yes, I knew we had to redo the chicken one.
Yeah,
So we
right.
had to reword the junkyard.
I can't
Yeah,
remember.
the junkyard, and then.
It was weeds and vegetation,
Yeah,
I don't remember there being anything wrong with weeds and vegetation.
I think we just picked.
weeds and
the top
vegetation,
four.
control of animals.
Yeah, if you're talking about what I think you're talking about, yeah, that was just for them to start reviewing ordinances and update them if needed.
And
So
then
yeah,
that-
so
and
there may
that
be
has for
some
the
in
top
there.
four.
So yeah, you would be right then with weeds and vegetation, because that's one of the most common ones we write
Weeds,
for.
vegetation.
And probably public nuisance.
Control of animals.
Mhm.
Yeah, what I didn't like about control of animals is it did not have any it did not have a vicious dog. Well, it referred to vicious dogs, but all it did was tell you how you had to transport them. But as far as the town's concerned, it's within, you can have a vicious dog in town.
So the ones that have paper clipped is trailer, or RVs, trailers, campers, tiny homes.
Yeah, that was to change the date of how old the
The
trailer
trailer had to
could
be,
be.
yeah, I remember that.
No, a house trailer.
And the strength, the length of it, and
Yeah, how old
Yeah.
they could be.
I think they
Square
did 4
footage.
years over conversion, they have to be at least.
there's some things I highlighted, so that's one we need to go over. The control of animals is another one, and then weeds and vegetation is another one. It's the three,
Only three?
this is the three I have paper clipped.
So we're gonna go back to like no chickens, right?
That's up to you guys, I just
We
wrote
talked
you.
about it because we gave the, like that one position, I mean, we gave them full leniency.
Did we ever get
4-H?
anything for them?
I've always
Why?
changed.
Did we ever get anything for that?
They sent the Purdue.
Yeah, I
Oh,
kept
yeah, we
saying-
got it.
Yeah, we've got all the.
Yeah, we did, but they did everything we asked them not to do.
Oh, they did.
We got the thing from Purdue.
Yeah,
They
we-
kept the rooster.
Kept the rooster.
But are they keeping the rooster in
It's
the
where
shack
it's,
by Donnie?
it's where it's housed.
But it's in the county, but I still hear from my home.
I can too.
I think there's more than one. I think there's more than one rooster.
The day that I went out there, probably 2 months ago, there was only the one, and it was in the back corner in a
In Donnie's.
somewhat jerry-rigged cage.
No, I'm thinking there's more than one resident maybe that has a rooster.
Oh, a rooster, that I don't know.
Not that I've seen, but that's not.
Because I can hear it at my house, and I'm thinking it's not coming from that direction.
How's it sound?
Huh?
They'll do it.
No.
That's the one I hear, it definitely comes from these.
Yeah, most definitely the one over here is, I hear it every morning that I come in here. Over by, who's, Jeanette, I wouldn't be surprised if yours is actually out in the county,
Yes.
but right off of
Yes.
Cemetery Road, and there's
Yes.
nothing we can do
I
about
mean,
it.
if we can figure out where they are and they're
If
within the
there's-
city
if they're in
limits,
the
then we
Right,
can deal
which
with
I
it.
just hear it, so, gradually when I'm outside.
Right, it could be in the county, because
Because it's
if it's at Heather's house, that's.
2 blocks over, yeah.
Yeah, and then, like generators and stuff, we might need to put that, if that goes into one of them, maybe.
It
repaint.
does, it goes into, actually, that's the
Maybe.
bad part.
I don't look at that. I don't think that counts.
It's under the north.
I don't think it does either, cause power tools and generators, because that one's power tools, and generators, I say is two different.
Well, that's why
Well,
I looked at,
we
I
can let Joe
said,
look
is a
at it.
generator considered a power tool?
But I would say
And it
first,
says
decide,
yes.
do you want, do you specifically, as a council, do you wanna have, because someone has a generator that they're using right now, do you wanna have an ordinance that forbids the use of generators?
To power their home.
Right, go over there.
Maybe at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's an issue, isn't it?
Setting an ordinance of timeframes is one thing, but setting, that you
Well,
never
we do
can have
have
one ever
time
again,
frames
you know,
in here.
heaven forbid we run out of, you know,
That's
power.
for the use of power tools.
So for the one in my direction, it's off during certain hours of the day.
Is it at that, at night, like sleeping
Yeah,
hours?
so 10:30, 11 o'clock, it's off. It don't come on until 6:37 or later in the morning.
The other one is probably running 24/7.
Probably, and both of them are being used for
Right,
the same
back
purpose.
So that doesn't bother me that last hour, so it's
And in my house, I can't really hear it until I,
It's
like,
not an issue.
I can hear it a little bit, but until I go outside.
I can hear it at my house, but I know what it is and it doesn't bother me. But we have had a complaint
Yeah.
from the complaint department on
I
that
think
side
it
of
was
town.
We've had more than one, I've had probably 2 or 3 now.
So the one by me, I think of it as pink noise.
Right.
It helps me sleep.
Oh, it's like having the fan on.
Exactly. Pink noise.
We had a park board meeting today, and if you haven't noticed, the new slide is here. It won't get put up, installed until next Monday. I'm going down through my notes
The
here.
other one was damaged, and they have agreed to replace it.
Yeah, it got damaged by the installers, so they brought us a new one. Hopefully they don't damage
That's
this
it,
one.
it'll be the same installer.
Yeah, it is the same installer.
Oh, wow.
They're gonna go ahead and install the swings when the slide gets installed, so that the playground area will be able to use it. They're gonna get quotes for 4 10-foot picnic tables that are handicap accessible. They're gonna go ahead and get the first bid from Fountain Acres, since they did such a great job with the gazebos, that, for the price. And he gave me the estimate for the cost of the fire pits, which includes the gravel that'll be around them, it's everything, for $500 a piece. I'm still gonna go after grant money for the basketball and pickleball court, the coating of the courts, which comes with a professional post for the pickleball court. And I actually, they're gonna get quotes for the fencing that goes around over there. But I was looking at it today, and why are we gonna fence that all the way in? It's never been fenced in before, the basketball court and the pickleball courts. I can understand a fence down the middle to separate them so they're not, balls aren't going into the other court.
Pickleball court, if there's a little bit of wind, they have trouble.
Yeah, it's a
getting in
wiffle
the
ball.
court, yeah.
Basketballs go out in the street, kids chasing them.
Yeah, but they haven't been there for, I've been here 30 years.
I think
There's
it's
not been a
but there's
fence.
new regulations and things, I think, I would say.
I don't think that's
I
what
was,
it is.
I was thinking it was regulations, so we had to do it.
Oh, I'm gonna talk to,
I say pickleball, you about want to.
I think so.
Galway doesn't have fences around theirs at all.
The new one they do.
It's in, cause it's inside, the one that's out, I mean, it's inside, yeah, I know where it's at,
They
or
got
outside the
one.
gym.
Yeah, on the outside.
But the one that they have right out here on one
The lawyer's
and
right
40,
here.
it doesn't
I'd
have.
have to look into that. I don't know about
People
that.
have trouble playing pickleball without a fence,
Yeah.
really, because they blow away. That's my only issue.
I'm standing strong against pickleball.
Oh,
That's not for me.
I've been having people ask me about it, don't ask if there's
Well,
no
the
fence.
quote that they're
play.
guessing that
That's
the
all.
quote, they're gonna ask a couple of places, and that, they're looking at 20,000.
Yeah.
The court,
Safety.
for the court, basketball court and the pickleball courts, for the color coding and the posts, that's 25,000.
Oh, really?
The fountain's gonna be about 15,000,
But
so,
the pickleball and basketball, is Ross not going to help us with that?
we're gonna reach out to, or Randy and Dwight are gonna reach out to the alumni and Ross Jones and see if they'll help with the fountain. I'm gonna reach out to see if I can get an additional grant for the 45,000.
What was
Ish.
the estimate for the fountain?
The fountain is estimated at 15,000. He showed us several of them today and they're pretty. They're
So if
pretty
we
good.
don't have money though, that can be something that we like
Down the line.
down
Yeah.
the line.
They're, Randy told me that what they're trying to finish up over there right now, they're just trying to get it done before winter. Like moving dirt and all that stuff before winter. But they are gonna open the playground though, so that, because there were kids over there on the teeter totter. It was kinda nice seeing kids over there.
Yeah, I say like fire pits and,
That'll all be next
fountain and all
next
that
spring.
stuff that we can wait and see what needs finished first before that comes up.
That's all next spring. It's all gonna get done, but it's not until next spring. I just gotta reach out to get the grants for the certain things. And then they're gonna bring in the topsoil next year. He talked to Christian, who's doing the sidewalks, they're gonna have all the curves done. And then Duke is gonna run the electric under Cherry Street, they're putting in a new transformer that'll lead to the power box, which will be on the southwest corner by the basketball court. The main thing that we need to do tonight is decide if we are going to purchase the 4 poles for the lights, or if we're going to rent them.
What's the difference in like the price?
I don't remember.
They're gonna run the sewer line in there.
That I don't know.
Have to put
I'm
a
just going
fountain
through
in
my
there.
notes. You guys folded these
Drain.
when you had looked at it?
Yeah, I was just putting ones that look like the ones here in town.
Yep.
I just like to have like the base or something similar to the,
Right, I agree
The-
wholeheartedly, I think
if we're
for
gonna
sure.
match it, kinda match the ones that we have out here on the street lights.
I agree.
But it doesn't give a price on here, so I don't know. I don't know. So all I have to do is to let Randy know, or Dwight's gonna let Randy know actually, that we need the price and he can take this with him as folded to let him know the lights that everybody chose at the last meeting.
I was just going through Dwight and seeing, I like to see something similar. I was just trying to,
Post.
Pretty similar, those are pretty similar.
like the base, kinda similar to the ones we have out here.
The only thing about that
But I'm
is
not
I
sure
don't know
how
if they can
tall
do the
they have
double
to be.
ones. I don't know if they, cause the ones in the center of the diagram have double lights.
Right.
I don't know if they can do that on those, but they know more that, I don't know anything about power, so.
They can, I don't know, they could modify that to put a double light that.
Yeah, I just was going through there looking at the base, like, oh, that kinda looks like the ones out here, that kinda looks like the ones out here, and just marking them. I don't know if even those are even tall enough to,
Illuminate, well, if they put the LEDs, I have a LED light on my corner, and it's about halfway, maybe not quite to Agnes's house, the street lit up, but it's bright.
right, but like, I don't know how tall your poles have to be, like how much, like,
I
they're
don't
only
know
taller
either.
than this, or,
Does it say on that front page, Dwight, on the very front?
Probably come in different
On the
ways.
diagram.
Right.
I think.
How
Height,
tall
height
they are.
doesn't have to be a
12
certain
foot.
height because it's not.
Well, that's 12, that's not bad.
no, I just didn't know how much.
Is that what those
they
are,
would be,
out front?
like to illuminate.
So that'll be all right.
bigger area.
Uh-huh.
Cause I don't know,
Yeah.
on the very front of that
Because it's
binder,
up there,
he's got the diagram, I don't know if it says how tall the lights are or not. So we just need to be able to tell him if you wanna buy them, the 4 poles, or if you want to rent them.
the wood poles,
Those.
all those.
I guess it just depends on the difference in
Pricing.
pricing.
So if you, Dwight,
But
if
the
you
thing
can
is-
get
Now,
the,
is that rented, that's renting to own?
Well, it was after 10 years, you have the option of buying them or
yeah, you
something.
have the option to buy it after 10 years.
That's
Because they
why I
rotted
said-
away.
That's why I said
Because
buy
it's
them.
like, I'm just ready to buy
Because
it.
they're the
Yeah.
ones we have. Why can't
Yeah.
we just buy them?
At least if you buy them, you ain't gonna get, they ain't gonna get knocked
Yeah.
out.
You know, that's the thing with,
You have the credit card fee of 29%.
Yeah.
You know, we can have poles donated
Hey,
by the alumni.
Why can't we have polls
Yeah, they
donated
are.
by
Spray paint
Duke?
them black.
Well, yeah, that's.
I mean, they
an
are,
option.
they are donating, they're trying to put the electric transformer under
They
the,
would
yeah,
donate
brand new
the
transformer.
black ones.
Really?
They'd be wanting the wood ones.
Told you guys,
That's
telephone
okay.
poles are looking pretty
Got
good.
some wood ones, some creosote filled wood ones.
Cut a tree for you.
Yeah.
Buy some black
There it is, by some
wood
trees.
paint. We can paint them.
Take the old
We just
basketball
need
goal.
pricing. They send what we have and no prices.
The old basketball goals. Put some lights
No,
on
they're
them.
awful. God.
Has Duke come and done LEDs?
Be traditional.
They're
no,
doing the
we wanna go away
LEDs
from
as
that.
needed to replace them.
So they needed
Mine
to get all
is-
Persians
They
for
can even
free,
do all the
upgraded
purchases.
them for free, gave them a rebate.
I was
And
in
it
on
cut
that
their
and they
bill in
haven't
half.
even, I was in on it and they haven't even came. I replied to the email, the same one they got.
Put the thing out there, see if like people wanna donate for the light poles and
Well, there's-
put their name on them.
There's some phone numbers on here.
We just need prices.
Yeah.
to
I mean,
see
how are you
about
gonna
getting
send us a
pricing.
book that thick at no price?
Remember, I'm gonna put the book together.
Oh.
And I got all these documents.
So maybe you should buy them.
I got all these documents from Randy to start with, and I just put it this way to make it easier to
So
look
you are
at.
gonna donate the polls? Since you put the book together,
He
with
said
no
he got-
pricing?
he said he
I
gets the
donated
first
the
one.
paper.
Put your name on it, on the
Yeah.
plate.
He gets first one, Janelle gets second.
We buy them, we
Yeah.
have them.
I don't know what the, I don't know.
We need to get more info on that purchasing.
Maybe you could set up with that Bronson that's on the front cover, December 2nd, come and talk to us about lights.
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Get it all over with in one
Yeah.
miserable meeting.
If you could reach out to him and see
Yeah,
if he
he's
can come
got-
here.
If you can, if they can come
Cambridge
earlier,
City phone
like
number as
5:15,
well.
5:30,
Okay.
let's do that.
Do them first. See if they can
Yeah.
come about 5:15, 5:30.
Oh, if they can send us something, email.
Contact him. This is one of those confusions where we thought someone else was doing it, and then they thought someone else was doing it, and guess who's doing it?
Right.
No problem.
How you with the ring fire.
I don't have anything else. Other than I'm glad that it's
Covered
Tuesday.
everything?
and the
We've covered everything that we needed at our meeting, then?
Yeah, I just need, Jeanette, did you have a chance to go over that, employee handbook that I gave you last week? Can I have your copy the changes that you made
Well, I
yourself?
kinda like, just highlighted and put like different notes beside it.
I'll change it.
I mean, I don't have nothing written up on it.
Oh, you
I guess
just-
I just need to,
that needed
cause I thought we were
attention.
just discussing it, so I just highlighted areas that needs like amended maybe. I know there's a lot of pink, don't
Yeah.
look. There's a lot of pink, cause this is very old.
Very old.
Yeah.
I mean, there were some holidays that weren't on there. There was a bunch of. And the
Yeah,
reason that I'm asking about the employee handbook is with the decision that was made Thursday, I haven't had a chance yet to look at it. I was asked about the final pay. Is it, and I haven't had a chance to look, so I'm just asking right now out loud. Is it only vacation, or is it the sick and
Should be on vacation.
personal?
Well, he went to part-time employee and that canceled out his benefits.
well, no, because he should be prorated, he prorated those benefits. But he could've used them before, so he was hired in as a, there's a fine line, how does that work?
I
Use them or
don't
lose
actually
them.
know what we're talking about here. Is it for?
We had a termination.
Uh-huh.
And he's wanting to know if he gets his sick pay and, personal days, or is it just vacation?
It would probably be whatever the agreement is,
I don't
for
know.
the original agreement and then the
There's
employee
no
handbook.
There's
if
no
there's been any-
agreement in
Oh.
writing.
There's no contracts anywhere in this building. I have searched every file.
So,
in the
but he was a
building.
full-time employee,
Mhm.
made himself part-time employee.
Like made overnight.
Can he do that, or is that?
Hell, he did it.
It cost him his
No.
position, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just did it willy-nilly. He clocked out at 11, and I was like, where are you going? Oh, I took that full-time job.
Oh, wow.
Insubordination is really what I called it.
Yeah, for calls, but you'd have to probably accrue everything up and see where he's at.
I know where his vacation is, because I really kept really close to that, and he hasn't used any personal sick days, but he could have probably taken 3 months off work,
So
because they roll over.
So on here, is our sick time? I thought it was just vacation that rolls over.
They were rolling over.
It is supper time, it's bedtime.
According to this though, I thought,
It's dark out, it's bedtime.
So I don't
They're
know.
all day. They're all day.
so I just highlighted things that says,
Good evening.
submit notification at least 2 weeks prior to effective date.
Most places it's just vacation.
Yeah, any place else you can stay full-time, you're fine, you just get your, you don't even get your
Doesn't matter,
vacation.
doesn't touch on.
Take it, I understand.
You don't get it.
Um,
It's being good to get a vacation.
If you get fired from your job, you get your vacation time?
Yeah, you would still get anything that you've earned up to that, yeah.
But usually it's not both. I mean, like, it's whatever you accrue, but usually sick time or vacation time, one or the other is not rolled
Well,
over.
it also depends if you like a PTO schedule or if you have vacation days
Yeah.
and then sick days.
That's if you have a contract also.
Oh, it does.
Which,
It says no sick days can be carried over from 1 year to the next.
that's good. But vacation days is a question that was.
Well, it didn't say nothing about, so 1 week paid vacation after 1 year service, 2 weeks vacation, 3 weeks, 1 personal day off with each. After 1 personal day off, paid or every 2 months of employment, and 1 for every 2 months.
He might answer that phone call, because I
Sick
called him
days and personal
today.
days cannot be used during the vacation
Well, he
period.
answered
No
back,
sick
no.
days can be carried over from 1 year to the
Question
next.
asked, but I didn't talk
So-
about that.
This says no rollovers, and they're doing it, and she said before he was having rollovers.
I don't know, that's just kind of.
That's, I think that's what she was writing. This is me.
Yeah.
That's my handwriting. This,
Yeah.
all this pink is
That's a
because
good
I was
question.
questioning
It's
things.
kind of-
So we
Very vague.
should we table this and then figure something out and, or?
I know, maybe I need to call the guy and negotiate a little bit.
That's what I
See, you know.
I think AJ,
Who was it? Was this?
Bruce Price.
because that was one of our issues.
Okay. I probably.
Based on the date, 2012.
But
Pull
here,
that out.
right here,
I know.
Yeah.
He said same
That's
thing.
for sick days.
that's great.
But if it's
AJ went through some of it.
So Amy, on page 9 of this old employee handbook, it says no sick days can be carried over from 1 year to the next.
They were carried over, no. Previous to me, they were carried over.
Well, they
That
shouldn't.
doesn't mean, it's, what, if, Joe, I don't want to speak out of turn here, because I'm for sure not a specialist in labor law or anything of the nature, but if there's a dispute, the very first thing anybody's gonna do is say, let's go back and see what was in the employee handbook,
Yeah, well, the contract first, what did you agree to when you signed on?
of which there's no specific, yeah.
That's the exchange.
Yeah, so,
But if this is never being used or followed, then it has no meaning then. It just,
It's never.
yeah. You
But I
can't
mean,
really
if this
rely
is the
upon it.
only one
Mhm.
that's out there, we could follow it.
Could, but if we're not, then it's
It was
just,
never
why should we
issued.
follow it now when
Well,
it's, you know?
Before,
convenient for us, yeah.
If it was used before, it'd be good, yeah.
well,
Convenient for us, yeah, that's the
Your
general
church,
point,
yeah,
yeah.
it hasn't been.
That'd be my argument, if I was there, I would say, oh, so now because it's convenient for you, you don't wanna pay this out, now you don't
right,
follow
and
the handbook.
here, too, it also states that,
Just play Russian roulette.
That's, they're talking about full-time employees.
Yeah, he's not a full-time.
Not a full-time employee.
Yeah, if he's not a
He
full-time
limited
employee,
himself.
that's good.
I know it did, and I understand why.
He cooked his own goose on that one.
And that was his
So that's just
choice.
things to think about, but payroll is Monday.
Well,
I just don't, I don't know what to do.
I mean, according to that,
He's
only,
part-time and that
part-time.
handbook's for full-time, so
Yeah.
he really doesn't, he
but
shouldn't.
really, you prorate it right back down, right?
wouldn't have to, because he
No, we
didn't prorate his time, he was coming part-time.
I would think you would prorate it though, because he's already earned it. So,
Well, if he
he's
earned
not
it.
forfeiting it.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, because he's not really forfeiting it, he's still an employee.
So just prorate the date from the time he started.
So vacation time doesn't roll over, right?
I always thought.
I don't know what it does,
Like, there's nothing about vacation.
and it's not in the ordinance book.
So only thing
Let
on
me just
here,
tell you, passed.
Well, we'll go ahead
Every-
and adjourn
yeah.
and then,
Go ahead and adjourn.
Do we need a motion to adjourn?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Yay.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Let's go find these.
I'm sure these guys signed.
Yeah.